Hi friends, it's Paisley and Glue, and today we are finally at the finishing stages of our romper project. We're gonna put in a zipper. Zippers are not hard, they take a little bit of getting used to. This one's just a center zipper, so it's pretty straightforward. And then we're gonna do some more finishing touches. So the first thing we're gonna do is on our center back seam, we should have stitched our crotch seam and left the back open from, I think it was a circle, something. There was some sort of marking there that told us where to stop that. Now we're going to close up the back just with a basting stitch on the seam line, 5/8, and then we're going to press that open. So we're going to lengthen our stitch length to a basting stitch. And then press that open to below where we're supposed to end the zipper. Okay, so we're laying our zipper face down onto the seam allowance of what's going to be our placket. And we just need to make sure that we're clearing that 5/8 seam allowance. It's going to go into the waistband with the top of the zipper. And you're going to lay the zipper teeth right along the edge of that seam. The directions tell you to baste this in. While you're getting used to putting zippers in, it is a good idea to baste them in by hand. They'll turn out much better the first time. I'm not going to do that, and we'll see if I regret that. I might. Again, I'm going to keep that at a basting length. I'm also going to move my needle over, and we're just stitching this through that seam allowance right now. So now I am opening up the seam allowance again, and I'm laying the zipper flat, and we're going to stitch the other side. So I would pin this carefully while it's flat. And this time it's telling us to stitch actually all the way through the other side and then across the bottom. Move my needle to the other side. And where I stitched along over the bottom is above the zipper stop. So that will be underneath now. Okay, so now my zipper's technically in. I can stitch this for real, and I am going to switch to a zipper foot for this. And we're going to make our stitch length a normal length again. It's really hard to tell on this fabric since it's stripy. Which is good for hiding mistakes, but I'm just trying to keep an even distance from my zipper. So I tried to rush this, and now I need to take out some of this because my fabric started to stretch because I hadn't pinned or basted that. Okay, let's try that again. And actually I'm going to stitch from the top down instead of turning and then going back up. It's usually a good idea to stitch in the same direction when you're doing something like this instead of turning and then going back. Since I started here, it's good to do both sides going the same direction. Okay, so hard to see on this stripy fabric. All right, so when that looks the way you want it to, then you can go ahead and open up your placket again, which shouldn't be too hard since you just used a basting length stitch on it. Okay, there's our zipper. So now we're ready to put the top onto the shorts. So we're going to find our center front of the shorts, and we're going to find the center front of the top, which is marked by this notch here. I'm going to line that up. We'll find our side seams of the waistband and the shorts, line that up. And then the end, the zipper edge that we just finished is going to butt up right to the end there so that the folds of the waistband and the folds of the shorts match up. And then everything else will get pinned in, and then we will stitch at 5/8. Seam allowance got a little weird here, so I'm just going to go back over this one more time. Make sure the edges of my waistband match up with the zipper. Looks like that they do. So now I can take this to the iron, and I'm going to press the seam allowance up, because this inner waistband is going to come over and be stitched over the top of that. Okay, so this is telling us to slip stitch this closed. I think I'm just going to stitch in the ditch, which is a little harder to do, but I've got plenty of seam allowance here. So that means I just need to make my seam allowance a little bit narrower on this waistband so that I can get enough of a lip to stitch through it from the other side. And because this is a stripe and I'm not that precious about this project, it just is going to go much faster and you're not going to be able to see. So I'm just making sure that my seam allowance in the front, seam allowance in this back extends long enough so that I can stitch it right here in the ditch from the front. back side of that zipper just tucks right into the waistband. All right, let's see how I did. That side looks good. Clipping some of these threads that have been left. Good, good. Looks like I just missed the very end of my zipper here. So we'll tuck that back in. Okay, so waistband is in. Continually finding more threads. So that's all done. I'm going to take this to the iron and do one more press just to get that zipper placket laying flat. And I'm going to use my clapper and try to flatten out some of the seam allowance a little bit. And then we need to put our hooks and eyes on. It's kind of our last step, and then the hem. So I'm going to press this while I'm at the iron as well. And let's see what this tells us. 5/8 hem. So that is just going to be a 1/4 inch turn and then a 3/8 turn up. And I'm probably going to kind of eyeball that. I am going to pin it though, because this fabric again is a little bit woodgy. And then we'll come back and stitch that hem. Actually, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna stitch it 5/8 all the way around so that I can see where I am, and that's gonna make this much easier. So we pressed our hem up 5/8 all the way around. And now we're just going to top stitch that. All right, so there's our hem, which means that except for hooks and eyes, we are finished. So let's get those on and then we'll be done with this project. And I did, I used quadruple thickness of thread here to make this go a little faster. I'm using beeswax. on the thread so it doesn't bunch up as much. So one of the hooks and eyes is going to go in the top quarter of this waistband, and the other one will go in the bottom quarter. So when you're sewing on hooks, you want to make sure that you're going all the way around these loops on both sides a couple times. And I'm not actually stitching all the way through to the front. Depending on how heavy your closure is, you might need to do that, but this is so lightweight that it's fine. And then you need to do a little stitch at the top, so bring your needle through, and you're just going to loop this through and stitch across the top of that hook a little bit so it doesn't flap open. Knock this off there. I hate sewing closures on. I think it's super tedious and boring, but it is important to do it correctly and securely so that you don't have any misadventures when you try to wear the piece of clothing that you've made, and so that they don't come off in the wash the first time that you put them in the laundry. But it is very boring. It's always the last thing you have to do, so I'm always like, can this just be done now, please? At least it's just 2 hooks and eyes and not a million snaps. Okay, so then for your hook and eye, close that zipper up. You just want to make sure that your closures are matching correctly and they're going to end up in the same place. So you want to make sure that they're going to go there. And then when you have the eye, you just need to overlap the edge of the eye just so it clears the edge of that fold so that when you go to close it, you can find the edge of the eye. But you don't want to be too far over, because then you're going to have a big gap in the back of your romper. And again, we're stitching around the little loops here. One more little stitch kind of right across the top. Okay, well that means that we are done with these and we are ready for a final fitting. Okay, here we are. She's done. I think it turned out real cute. I would say there's maybe a little bit more fullness here than I would like. I could have turned this into a dart with a little bit of fullness. I feel like this side is a little bit more poofy than the other side. I think probably I could make that a little bit flatter with a little steam and some iron. But generally, it's very cute. The great thing is that it is now October, so it is now too cold to wear this. So we will wait till the springtime. But we got some pockets, super fun. The waist feels much better now since I let it out a little bit. I am wearing one of those like sticky bra things. Without that, TMI, too small busted to really like deal with this sort of top, but with the sticky bra, that really helps things. And just kind of makes me feel more secure in general. But in general, I really like the low back. The rise feels good. I did lower that just a little bit for comfort. These shorts are very voluminous, which is fine. If it was very breezy, it might have a little bit of that like skirt blowing up issue that sometimes you get. I would wear like a boy short with this. But other than that, I am very excited. I think the stripes ended up looking pretty nice. The top and the bottom stripes don't really match, but it kind of is fine. Yeah, it's cute. I just want to prance around. Great, so this project is done. I am pretty happy with how it turned out. If you make this pattern, please let me know in the comments. Hopefully, even if you didn't make this pattern, it kind of helped you learn a little bit about how you start a project from start to finish using a commercial pattern, how you can adapt it to fit your body a little bit better, how to do mock-up, cutting, sort of general knowledge things that are super helpful when we are using commercial patterns. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Hey, stop it. Stop.